Hi, my name is Mia. Welcome to Scrubs and Savings. I'm a 22-year-old new grad nurse documenting how I'm living intentionally, spending joyfully, and giving generously. And today we're going to do my November money reset, where we're going to take a look at October's income, expenses, savings, investments, progress towards my financial goals, and net worth, and go through my November budget. So as for my income, my net income was $2,289.34. I received $11.30 from Gumroad, where I sell my financial goals spreadsheet as well as my 50-30-20 spreadsheet. I don't really promote those often, but thank you to those of you guys who purchased them. Then from my hospital job, I received $1,916.61. From Ally, I received $93.61. $43.61 of that was from interest, and then $50 of that was for my account anniversary, which I completely forgot about, and it was a very pleasant surprise. And then I worked a few hours at my contingent job, and I received $267.82 from that. So my total income, again, was $2,289.34. And as for my spending, I spent a lot of money this month, but I also had a great time. So I spent a total of $1,354.92. $429.28 was for my fun money. I spent $220.78 on entertainment. I believe in my October money reset, I removed money from my entertainment category because I was like, I'm not going to do anything entertainment-wise this month. And I was completely wrong because my home team went to the playoffs, and of course I wanted to get a ticket to that. And there was also a special going on for one of the local theaters, and it was $25 to see a musical, and I was like, I cannot pass that up. So the $220.78 includes the tickets as well as parking and any food that I got during or before the events. Then $68.22 was on clothing. That was for a couple of really cute postpartum sweatshirts that I can wear to work. Then $56.94 was for 2 date nights. $35.30 in my hobbies category was for Polaroid printer paper for a scrapbook that I'm putting together for Nick and I's anniversary. I spent $35 in activities. My friend and I signed up for a Pilates class that we're going to take together in November. And then for my beauty category, I spent $13.04 on some tweezers, which you'd think tweezers would be like $5, but I got some pretty bougie ones, and they are very precise, which I very much needed. Then I spent $379.50 on generosity. I condensed my giving categories so that any donation to an organization would be underneath giving, and that was $367.42. I did my normal monthly donation, and I also did a donation to a local soup kitchen because of people not receiving their SNAP benefits. And then I spent $19.08 on a Christmas gift. And then I spent $335.03 on a round trip flight to Paris, and this was only for taxes and fees because I used my AMEX membership rewards points to actually pay for the price of the flight. I spent $157.83 on my car insurance. And then Nick and I made our first purchase for our apartment, which was for a whiteboard calendar, and he's currently using it in his room, but we are going to take it to our apartment. Then $17.09 was for subscriptions and fees. $14.99 was for my gym membership. And then I accidentally signed up for an Uber One trial. So I'm hoping that if I dispute it, I can get this $1.10 taken off. It's such a minuscule amount, but it's the principle that I didn't mean to sign up for the subscription. We'll see about that. And then I put down $1 for my YouTube Premium subscription, and I've decided that I'm going to go through with it. It has definitely made such a difference in my YouTube viewing experience. especially when I watch on the TV, because they put an insane amount of ads, because I feel like we're just so used to ads on the TV that they're like, we can get away with putting more ads on videos. That was a weird tangent. And the last $15 was for my Canva subscription. Then for my savings, I saved a pretty good chunk of money this month. $324.09 was for my sinking funds, and then for my goals, I saved $451.50 for my apartment fund, and then I saved an extra $285, I believe, to my emergency fund, for a total of $415 saved in October. So I'm now at $11,505, and then I saved $250 for travel. I feel like I say this in almost every monthly reset now, but even though it was a high spend month for me, I'm very content with what I spent my money on. And now that we're going into the holiday season, I know that November and December will be high spend, but I know most of the money is going towards Christmas gifts, travel, giving, and I'm also planning on buying things for my first apartment during Black Friday. I don't want to get too overzealous with that though, because I want to be able to return things that I don't like, and I also don't know how big my apartment will be, so I can't get any big furniture or anything like that, but a girl wants to buy a nice soap dispenser. Then for my financial goals, my first goal was to make $40,000 of gross income, and I actually hit that this month. So in October, I made $6,577.37 in gross income. So now I've reached $44,940.58 in gross income this year. And obviously, in the next couple months, I'm going to surpass that income goal even more. My second goal was to max out my Roth IRA, and I've already done that. Then my third goal was to save $3,000 in my apartment fund. And in October, like I said before, I saved $451.50. And so far this year, I've saved $2,291 in my apartment fund. And I only have to save an extra $709 to achieve this goal. And again, I'm confident that I will be able to achieve it by the end of the year. My fourth goal was to have $7,500 in my emergency fund. Now I did reach that in May with all of my graduation gifts, but I've kept on saving to stay on track to have $12,000 in that fund by the time I move out. So in October, I saved $415. So now I have $11,505 in that fund. And I feel like I may end up reaching that $12,000 goal by the end of this year, because I'm putting all of my extra income towards this goal, but we will see about that. My fifth goal was to have a $100,000 net worth, and I achieved this in September. And then in October, it increased by $5,873.53. And my last financial goal of the year was to become debt-free, and I did achieve that in July. I'm so happy with the progress that I've made towards my financial goals this year. As you could see, that I've almost met or have already exceeded all of my goals, and it just makes me want to push myself harder for next year's goals. But I definitely don't want my goals just to end up as arbitrary numbers, and I want them to mean something to me. So that's definitely something that I'm thinking about while I'm thinking up of all of the goals that I want to achieve in 2026, which, it's funny because I currently feel like this year's gone by so fast, but when I think about all of the different phases that I've gone through this year, it's definitely felt like a longer year. I don't know if that makes any sense, but we've come a long way. Then for my 50-30-20 split, I like to see the difference between my needs, wants, savings, investments, and my debt payoff. So for October, I spent $157.83 on needs, $1,197.09 on wants. I saved $1,440.59, and I invested $3,358.57. And last but certainly not least, we're going to go over my net worth dashboard. So at the end of October, my total assets were $109,924.31. My total debts were at negative $2,195.23, and that is just the current balances on my credit card. I pay the statement balance off every month, so I'm not carrying any actual credit card debt. So my net worth at the end of October was $107,729.08. And of course, it's just so fun to see my net worth go up over time, my assets go up over time, and my debts, generally speaking, going down over time. And I love seeing my assets break down. So currently 17.5% of my assets are in cash. That's my checking, savings, and the cash I have on hand. My physical assets are at 23.4%, and that's my car and the portion of the land I have in the Philippines with my family. Then 59% is in my retirement accounts, or $64,861.40. And I'm simply just loving seeing this number go up over time, because the more it goes up, I'm all the more closer to reaching financial independence. And lastly, 0.1% is investments, which is basically just the little down payment fund that I have in a separate brokerage account. Now for my November budget, I feel like it's going to be a little wacky and wonky because of Black Friday, and I'll show you what I mean in my discretionary spending. So I'm a month ahead on my expenses, so my income from October has already covered all of my expenses and savings for November. So all of my monthly fixed expenses are funded. And if you're a longtime viewer, you'll notice that I'm missing a giving category, and I think I'm going to switch it up for the next little bit because of people losing their SNAP. I'm planning on donating regularly to a local food pantry instead of the women and children's shelter. So at the beginning of November, I need to figure out how much I need to fund for that new monthly donation. And it's probably going to be still about $300 every month. Then for my sinking funds, we're just still shoving money in there. So the main two are my car sinking fund and my Christmas sinking fund, which will definitely go down to zero at the end of this month. I already have covered my mom's Christmas gift. I figured out what I'm going to get for my dad. I've already purchased one thing for Nick's Christmas gift, and now I know what I want to purchase next, and that's probably all going to be clothing. And then the rest of my sinking funds are just my annual subscriptions, annual fees, and my nursing license. Then for my fun money, this is where it gets wacky and wonky and silly. I set aside my normal $65 for just normal gift giving. Then for dining out, I have $50 set aside, but I'm actually going to remove $10 from that for a coffee date that I'm going on with one of my friends. I only have one eating out plan for next month, and it shouldn't cost $40, but it's always nice to have a chunk of change in there, especially if I want to move money around during the month, which I have definitely been doing a lot. And it's definitely going to be fun to see my spending data at the end of the year and change all of my targets up, because I know that my spending has looked pretty different since I am working full-time now and enjoying the money that I'm working for. I didn't set anything aside for hosting or doing things. I actually pulled money from these categories to pay for the Pilates class that I'm going to during the month. So I felt like it was fair game to pull that money since that is going to happen in November anyway. Then I have $34.59 set aside for whenever I want to purchase my next yoga class pack. Then for my beauty category, I assigned $44.73. I had to reschedule my hair appointment that I was actually supposed to have today. And now that Black Friday is coming up, and the fact that I'm also running out of a lot of my beauty products, I figured now's the time to spend that money during the Black Friday sale. Are they actual deals? I have no idea, but it just happens to be the time where I need to restock a few things anyway. And then I set aside a puny little $8.92 for entertainment. Wicked is coming out this month, and I really do need to buy those tickets. I'm probably going to move some money from my live events category to cover the difference, but we'll see about that. Then I set aside my normal $100 for live events, and I already have one thing that I want to purchase tickets for. I'm just living my best life right now, and I think it's going to be time to be honest with myself when I'm changing up my budget, that I really love to see live events and just enjoy that experience without wanting to cut back on costs when I'm going out and about. So that's something that I'm looking forward to increasing my budget for. Then I set aside $25 for clothing. I'm not planning on buying any clothing during this Black Friday season, no matter how much I want to, because I'm very much interested in getting new workout shirts, but that's really not my priority right now. And maybe I might get some for Christmas. Who knows? That would be really cool. I don't think my boyfriend's gonna watch this video, so probably should stop giving hints. Then I have $50 set aside for date night, and that will probably go to spending money on gas and dining out and parking when we go see the Book of Mormon on the other side of the state. That was a pretty silly decision, but I'm very excited to see the show. Then for things, I set aside $20. I really want to buy Amanda Rach Lee's doodle planner. I'm just not prioritizing that right now. If I get extra money during the month and I feel like I'm really wanting it, I might go ahead and purchase it, but for right now, we're just sitting pretty with $20 in that fund. And then I did not assign any money in my little fun things category for content creation because I don't really have anything in mind that I want to buy. I would love to eventually purchase a camera, but again, that's just not my priority right now. And then for my savings goals, I set aside my normal $451.50 for my apartment fund. Then for my emergency fund, I only had to set aside $82.50 to be on track to reach my target of having $12,000 saved by April. But I know that some extra income will be coming my way in November, so I honestly wouldn't be surprised, like I think I said before, that I might just finish funding my emergency fund by the end of the year. And lastly, I set aside $250 for travel. I'm not expecting to book anything for travel next month, but I might, just in case there's a good deal for a flight to New Orleans. I've been checking almost every day, and it doesn't seem like prices are going down, but Google Flights says that now's not the best time to purchase those tickets, but I'm just sitting and waiting patiently for those prices to come down. I think that's about it for this monthly money reset. Thank you so much for watching this video all the way through. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe, and I really hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.